Gary is live from his studio. Where is your studio, Gary?
I'm in New Hampshire.
Yeah, you actually played a hometown gig, didn't you?
We played last Friday with Lita Ford, and my son came out and played. He crushed it.
Wow. Now, how old is your son?
He just turned 22.
And how is he comparatively skill-wise? I know playing one-on-one with dad in basketball or something, there comes a point where son takes over, but this is different.
Yeah. Oh, he always crushed me in basketball. He was a great athlete. He actually was a quarterback in high school. But he started playing when he was about 7, and the last 10 years he's got really obsessed with guitar. And I posted on my Facebook page he was doing Red House by Jimi Hendrix the other night, and he got a standing ovation.
Oh God, that's such a great song, and you do a great version of Red House too. At the drop of a hat, I might add, because we've asked you to play it. So Gary, what if, let's just say, your son thought, you know what, I like guitar so much, my dad has had such a great career, I think I'm going to drop out of high school to just play guitar.
Well, it's funny you should say that, because he graduated high school. He went to Nashville to study at Belmont Music School for a couple of years because he says he wants to be a musician. He dropped out after 2 years and he came home. He said, Dad, I just want to play music. I want to go on the road with you. And this tour, he's actually leaving for Pennsylvania with me on Friday to play with me on stage. And I said to him, quit your day job, go in your bedroom and play your guitar.
Wow. Now, the reason I asked that was because when you dropped out of high school, how did your folks react?
Well, my mom, when I told her I wanted to be a musician full time, she said, well, why don't you go to a vocational trade school for a year and just take some trades and see what you think? So I went to a trade school and I took carpentry, masonry, auto mechanics, air conditioning. I took all these trades, and I can actually I can tile some grout for you if you need. I can fix your carburetor. I know a little bit about ACs. But I just came home. I said, Mom, there's not something I could do for 40 hours a week. I want to play music. So she let me drop out of high school, and I became a bum. I sat in my room and just played guitar 10 hours a day. She kicked me out of the house when I was 17. She said, you're out of here. She gave me a trash bag with my clothes and a guitar.
Really?
This is a true story. My mom literally kicked me out of the house. She made a man out of me. She said, you're not going to be a bum. You're going to go get a job. And she kicked me out. And I ended up sleeping on a friend's couch for a few weeks. And I went and got a job, and I got a studio apartment. And she made me grow up and be a man and realize I wanted to play music, but I couldn't just lay around and be a bum.
Wow, it's interesting because a lot of guys like yourself have done things their parents didn't like quit high school, and then of course they go on to these incredible careers, and those are the ones you always hear about. But so all in all, it worked out. She was apparent about it. She wasn't going to just let you play your guitar for 10 hours a day. That would be kind of hard to deal with when your kid drops out of school. So did you object when she kicked you out? Were you really mad?
Well, she kept bringing me job offers. She's like, they're hiring at the laundromat. You know what I mean? and she would bring up these job things, and I would say, I'm not going to be in the laundromat. And what happened, Drew, this is God's truth. My mother comes to me one day and she says, God rest her soul, she just passed away last February. I love her so much.
I knew that.
We had a great relationship. But she goes, we're moving to this new apartment building called Camelot Court. And she goes, we're moving. I said, when should I pack up? She goes, we're moving, not you. That was when I found out I was kicked out. They left and moved, her and my baby sister, and I was on my own to figure out where to go from there. And I gotta say, it made a man out of me, bro. What was
your first job when you realized, well, I have to work? What did you do?
Yeah, I was working, and I was working a full-time job and playing on the weekends. I was at a computer place, and I was checking circuit boards because there was a lot. Wayne Computers was in New England, so I had to sit on an assembly line and watch computer boards go by. And then eventually I started soldering, and then I became a supervisor. And when I got the audition for Ozzy and I wanted to fly to California, they offered me like a pay raise and a supervisor position. I said, no, man, I'm heading to LA. I'm out of here.
Wow. And auditioning for Ozzy, was that a big turning point, even though you didn't get the gig?
That was everything to me. Honestly, it changed my life completely, because when I went to California and I met Ozzy and I stood in a room and actually played with him, and he liked the cassette demo I sent, it made me have faith in myself. It gave me this confidence. Even though I didn't get the gig, I just said, if Ozzy turned his head my way, Ozzy knows good guitar players. I must have something to offer. So it actually was the beginning. And he looked at me and he goes, "Go, you're going to come to LA." Said to Sharon, "What did he just say?" She said, "You're pretty good. You should move to LA." So I came home and I packed everything up and I drove a U-Haul across the country. And I ended up, signing with Warner Brothers Records. I found a manager, and my life, the fairy tale began. It took me about 5 years to get a break.
Well, that's not that long, actually. How old were you?
I was 27 years old when I moved to California. Maybe 26, I think, maybe. And I got there and I just started teaching guitar. I just had a lot of students. I was teaching out of my apartment. That was my money. I was teaching. And one of my students came in and he goes, "I have a good friend who manages a band called the Bullet Boys. And I think he would really like you." And his name was Dave Kaplan. And he became my manager for like 30 years. And he was the one that got me to start this band called Heavy Bones. We had Frankie Banali on drums, God rest his soul.
Wow.
And I signed with Warner Brothers, and then Heavy Bones kind of collapsed because the grunge thing came out. And when Nirvana hit, we were like an 80s Aerosmith band, and we couldn't get arrested, man, and the album just kind of failed.
If you had not gotten that deal at say 27 years old, how long were you in, no matter what, in terms of teaching guitar, doing something with music?
Absolutely, man. I got to tell you, my career started taking off when I said to myself, I don't care if I ever make it, whatever make it is. I don't care if I ever become big and famous and make millions of dollars. I just want to play music because it makes me happy. I love music, and I was willing to do whatever it would take. And I didn't really care how much money I was making. I was making $150 a week at one point. I just didn't care. But I got to say, I had this blind faith. I really did.
That's funny because I remember I was probably happier when I got the job in Charlotte, North Carolina. I was in Roanoke, Virginia, which is a small radio market, and I could not seem to get another job in a bigger market because people said, "Well, you got to have experience to work in a large market." And then finally, I got a chance in Charlotte to work in the afternoon. They offered me $35,000, and that was the most exciting thing that ever happened to me. Even though I would go on to make much more money, I just realized, hey, I can make a living and pay my bills, and $35,000 seems like a pretty good salary for doing this. So
exactly.
Funny how
because you liked what you were doing. I mean, I always say if you were born to be a radio DJ, you were born to do this. If you do something you love, don't you think that's half the pay?
Absolutely. No, there are definitely psychic benefits, and that was I just kind of realized that I'm in play. I'm in the game now, and I'm here to stay for a while. And that meant more to me than reaching higher and higher levels. I think just to know that you were in the game and God, I can actually do this, and it's it's not a total.
That was your break, bro. Right? That was your big break. I remember when I didn't get the Ozzy gig, I tried out for Ronnie James Dio. I tried out for all these different tours. I had a chance to try out for David Lee Roth, the Red Hot Chili Peppers. Like all these auditions kept coming up, and I would never get the gig. I would always be second place, third place. We love you, but no. And then I finally said, man, maybe I'm not supposed to be in a band. And that was when I took on the idea of being a solo artist.
When you try out with those bands, I mean, there's got to be a feel amongst the guys. I mean, did you feel like I could be with any of these bands? I could be with these guys for a long time? Or were there ones that it's like, oh, yeah, no, I would not get along?
I got to tell you, man, Ozzy, playing with Phil Soussan and Randy, who passed away, God rest his soul, they were looking at me going, man, you got the gig, you got the gig. When I played with Dio, I became good friends with Claude Schnell, the keyboard player, Vinny Appice. They're still my friends to this day. And Claude played on my first album with Hocus Pocus on it. They thought I had the gig. I mean, they were literally telling me, Mike, dude, you got the gig. Because I was a songwriter. I was a songwriter since I was 14 years old. And the way I got the Ozzy audition was I sent in a cassette tape with a song I'd written. But the real way I got the audition was I called up the radio station and I threw the phone on the ground. Ozzy was on WBCN in Boston. I called up and I went like this. And I started playing over the phone.
Wow. Really?
I swear to God, I swear to Jesus, I started playing over the phone. I started going. And the guy on the phone says, "There's some guy on the phone. He sounds just like Randy Rhoads."
Wow.
Gary, do you happen to remember who was on the air? Because we competed against BCN when I was at AF. Was that like Mark Parento or one of those guys?
I think it was Parento or Laquadera, one of those guys, and they say to me on the phone, "Well, you can't talk to Ozzy, but we're giving you an address to send a demo." I send the demo to this address in California, and about 3 weeks later, I get a phone call. "Hello, we're calling from Ozzy's camp. We're going to fly you out." And I literally thought it was my friend doing a fake English accent.
Wow. Who got that gig, by the way, that gig you missed?
That was Zach Wilde.
Zach Wilde. And then who got the DLR gig? David Lee Roth.
It was a young kid. I think his name was Nolan or something. He was a British kid, a younger guitar player from, I think, England, who played with Dio for a while after Vivian Campbell, obviously.
And the Dio gig, because you tried out for Dio too, right?
Yep, I tried out for him. Well, actually, David Lee Roth, he got it. It was Jason Becker. Remember Jason Becker?
Name's familiar. I just doesn't.
Well, he wasn't in the band very long. He got some horrible paralyzing disease, and it really ruined his career. But he's still making music.
Yeah, I know who he is. I do.
And then Dio, it was a young, I think his name was Nolan. I can't remember his last name. I don't want to remember his name. He took my gig.
But then, honestly, you were destined to be solo, and you're doing your own thing. And December 9th, you're doing it at the Magic Bag, and these shows have done so well. How many years of Ho Hoey have there been now?
Well, we're going on 29 years. This is the 28th year, but 1995, bro, was when you and I had first met, when I put out the first Ho Hoey record. Hold on, someone's calling. I got to send this call to voicemail. But we were doing Christmas music. I literally had no plans of becoming, Mr. Christmas. I just wanted to send you guys music to play in between breaks when you were doing your bumpers and stuff like that. So me and my manager said, let's record some holiday music, send it to our friends. And you started playing the 12 Days of Christmas. And all of a sudden you told me the phones were lighting up and people were freaking out over it. And it just took off. We never had any idea of it being this something almost 30 years later.
What's great? How many overall holiday songs have you recorded? Because I know Drew, did you know that there's a new one? There's a new single. He found a new song.
No, I did not know there was a new single.
Yeah. But overall, how many have you done? And tell Drew about the new one.
Well, I recorded almost 40 songs completely. We did the first album. I never thought I'd do a second one. I swear to God. And everyone said, when's the next one coming out? So I did a second one, and I did a third one, and then we did a best of, and then we did a complete collection, which is a double disc. And so it became the complete collection. And then this year, actually, we have the first ever vinyl coming out. We're doing it's called Hark the Ho Hoey Hits, and it's on a red vinyl record.
That's cool.
Nice.
And we did this just for Record Store Day. I was actually speaking to Nick in town. He has a record store. I might come in a day early and do an in-store, but I'm not even selling these at my shows. You can only get them on Black Friday and Record Store Day because we wanted to put out something for vinyl because I love record stores. And so the newest single is called The Nutcracker Suite, Dance with the Sugar Plum Fairy. And I always loved the Nutcracker, and I love Tchaikovsky, that music. And one day I was sitting around, I heard it come on the radio, and I thought, what a haunting melody. And I was thinking of Ronnie James Dio, because I love Dio, even though I didn't get the gig. And I started going like this. I started going. And I started playing it like with heavy guitar, and I thought, man, I'm going to reinvent the Nutcracker. So I put out a single. It took me 2 years to finish this song.
Wow. Isn't it amazing? You can take virtually any song can be made to rock. It just needs the right person to strap a guitar on and figure out a way. But these songs do rock. Like I think it's Mr. Grinch that I love. That song really rocks.
It's the best.
Well, Grinch was another one that when I recorded that, this was my other part of my diabolical plan when I made Christmas. I swear to God, I wanted to not let people know it was a Christmas song. So I would go. And I wanted to sneak people in with a riff, like just play a heavy riff, so they'd be like on the radio going, oh, this is cool. They would turn it up, and then halfway through I would go. And then they were hooked already. You know what I mean?
Do you know what the streamingest or the most popular of all the Christmas songs you've done is?
The most popular one, I probably would say it was 12 Days of Christmas. And the 12 Days of Christmas was, and the Grinch. I think the Grinch is probably neck and neck. When we play live, the Grinch probably gets the biggest response. But the 12 Days of Christmas, you know, that was the first one where I tried to create this, I don't want to call it a masterpiece, but I tried to create this opus of like, how many things can I put in one song? And I started going. And I came up with that riff. You know, and then I would put in the evil in there. You know, to try to get people, you know, excited into the music. But I just loved holiday music. My mom always played it growing up in Boston, and my name was Hoey, so I thought Ho Hoey. This is
it's
destined.
perfect. It's really amazing how well it's worked out. And these shows must be doing great. I know they sell out every year, don't they?
Yes, we are very blessed. The shows have been selling out every year because more and more people are finding it to be a tradition, you know, to come out to the shows. And now that we're starting to see, Drew, thanks to you and all the support for all the years, we're seeing, you know, generations of people coming out now with their kids, grandmothers, you know, and people bringing friends going, you got to see Gary's show because, you know, we are like nothing that's out there, man, for a holiday show. I mean, I love Trans-Siberian Orchestra. I'm friends with the guys in the band. But when you go to see them, you're seeing laser lights and you're seeing this big production. When you go to see me, we literally string the lights with, you know, the ones you buy at Walmart. We string them all over the stage and put on a Santa hat and we rock out and it's just nuts and bolts rock and roll. There's nothing fancy. There's no big production. But it's about the quality of the music and the notes that we play. And then, you know, we come out and talk to folks after the show and have a good time.
And, you know, the Magic Bag is such a great place to play. Ever since Carl started doing the couple shows there, they were amazed at how well they were treated and the backstage. I'm very familiar with the backstage scene there. It's
The
very
green
cool.
room, yes.
Yeah, it's awesome. No, it's a great
I
place
love
to
that
play.
venue a lot. I really love playing there. And it has such a great vibe with the crowd. The energy is just great.
It is. And it is December 9th at the Magic Bag. If you don't have a ticket, you better get one soon. This will absolutely sell out if it's not sold out already. And Gary, it's great to talk to you as always. And who knows, I might even be down there December the 9th. I got an event December the 8th, but I think December the 9th is open. Is that a Friday night or a Saturday night?
I believe it's a Friday night, and I would love to see you, my friend.
I would love to see you too, Gary, and I thank you so much. It's so great to talk to you, and I'm glad you're doing. I know you lost your mother. That had to be tough. In fact, I watched your podcast with your mom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, thank you, man. I put my mom online because she was so cute. I'm like, I got to put you online. And it literally breathed like another 2 years of life into her. And November's end of this month, I lost my baby sister a year ago, too, to cancer.
Oh,
so it's been a rough year, but I'm staying positive and I'm just keeping the energy from my family because they would want me to.
Well, it was really sweet watching. It was amazing. Like, I can't believe I'm watching Gary Hoey and his mom's podcast, and I'm amused.
Thank you so much.
It was really
That means
sweet. Hey, have a great show, Gary. We'll see you December the 9th at the Magic Bag.
Thank you, brothers. Love you all. Thank you so much.
Gary. Love
Thanks,
you
Gary.
too. All right, Gary Hoey, ho, ho, hoey. What a great tradition. God, that's amazing. This thing is
Yeah.
still going 29 years. Oh, my God.
GaryHoey.com, by the way, for all his stuff.